Welcome everybody to Science, Art and Mathematics Communication, a presentation of our project Matematizame, Innovation and Creativity in Mass Communication for the Virtual Heidelberg Laureate Forum. My name is Demian Nahuel Góes and together with Natalia Sgrecha we are from the Universidad Nacional de Rosario in Argentina. So, first I would like to share some personal experiences after HLF that got me into science communication. They will be strongly focused on science art. Then I will present the experience my university already has in science communication. And finally, I would like to present the present project that we are working on and the activities and plans we have for the future. So let's start with my personal experience. I took part in the 5th Heidelberg Laureate Forum as a young researcher. It was an overall amazing experience. For instance, I got to meet Martin Hellman and Whitfield Diffie, who were the ones whose work got me into mathematics in the first place. So after this experience and many talks with the laureates in which they highlighted the importance of innovation and creativity in work, I started to rethink the way of teaching in my university. Today my lectures are heavily focused on storytelling, for which I needed pictures of my central characters. This is why I started drawing portraits of mathematicians. I started writing about mathematicians and mathematics for my students, for my lectures, and I created comics depicting mathematics, theorems and properties. This is, for instance, a comic about the Banach-Tarski paradox. And finally, I even created some games. On the right hand side, for instance, we have a jigsaw puzzle about Kurt Gödel's incompleteness theorem. You can see Kurt Gödel and one missing piece, which is the one representing the results of Kurt Gödel's theorems. Then I used this famous artwork by René Magritte to create my own series of artworks inspired by the philosophy of René Magritte, in which I depict counterintuitive results and paradoxes from different branches of mathematics in a similar way. Again, these were intended to be some kind of riddles for my students in my lectures, but they turned out to be very useful for science communication as well. I will show this later. But for now, it was the starting point of another project of mine, the Intercultural Science Art project. So the idea behind this project was to create more awareness of the research of young scientists. Young researchers put a lot of effort into their PhD thesis, and the problem that arises is that not many people are capable of understanding them. Non-scientific people even less. So I invited young researchers that took part in last year's HLF to depict their own research by scientific means. So this had an amazing feedback. We got many contributions from young researchers, and during last year's HLF we even had a small session where we could discuss the results. Here are some examples. So, for instance, George from Serbia works on quadratic manifolds, and he used a figure from his PhD thesis and replaced all the tori with donuts and coffee mugs. Latif from Nigeria used a picture of a coffee mug with some coffee to represent a fixed point theorem. He works on fixed point theorems on Hilbert spaces. Sander from USA, he works on a part of Langland's program, and he depicted Langland's program where two different worlds are connected by a huge machinery where many people are working on from both sides. And finally, G from China even created some confectionery art with a magic square. All rows and all columns add up to 33. So here's some personal experience. Now we go to part 2, the local experience in my university. So here we'll focus on the Equipo Remater. This is a group of mathematicians and students, future teachers in mathematics, who work on teaching methods for mathematics in school. So one part of their work consists of designing and creating different kinds of teaching materials. Here, for instance, we have some platonic solids, and here we have different games where the participants have to solve small mathematical riddles and problems to advance and win the game. They create this all from scratch. They design the idea and the different exercises you can work with the different games and tools. So the next step is experiences in school. The Equipo Rematet visits different local schools here in the region, and they implement their teaching methods and games and tools with groups of all ages in school in their math lessons to see what the feedback is. Naturally, these activities are designed to make math learning more enjoyable, so the team checks if they actually succeed, if the students have a positive feedback, and for this they visit a huge amount of schools, from, not only from Rosario but also from different cities around Rosario. So then we have interactions with teachers. Of course, these activities are designed for teachers to use them, so it's natural to discuss them with teachers to see what their feedback is, and for this the Equipo Rematet creates different workshops and discussion rounds to see and to have also a feedback from the teachers. Finally, we have interactive exhibitions for the general public in which the team presents their results, their work and their games. And naturally here the main idea is to encourage people in mathematics, to create awareness of mathematics, and that the people play around with the games and touch mathematics, feel mathematics, and learn what the mathematics behind these games is. These exhibitions are usually very successful. They take place not only in our university but also in different schools from the area, and they are really enjoyable not only for the general public but also for the mathematicians who participate. So yeah, that was a brief summary of the work here. There is much more to be said, but we'll take this for now. Now we go to the final part, science communication activities and future work of our current project. So in our university, all those who work in science communication, we joined our forces and created Matematizame, this project, innovation and creativity in mass communication. We have 4 main goals. The first one, naturally, is to raise awareness in society of the importance of mathematics, and in this context to also strengthen the communication skills of mathematicians, and we could say to raise awareness in them of the importance of mass communication as well, of course. And finally, the last 2 goals are to be a regional reference point when it comes to mass communication, and finally to create networks with other institutions and groups who work in science communication. Here in this presentation I will focus on the ways we find to succeed in our first 2 goals, mainly the first one. So let's see. So let's start with interactive talks. The main idea behind these science communication talks is that we wish the audience to take part in the talk, not only to listen to the speaker, but to actively participate in it. So the first of these talks, for instance, La Traición de la Matemática, was based on the series of artworks I created inspired by René Magritte, the one I mentioned earlier. And in this talk I discuss the theorems behind these artworks, and the audience was invited to actively participate and to experience those theorems during the talk. So during this pandemic, where these kind of talks are not possible, we are working on digital versions. The first one, for instance, is already online. It's called The Treachery of Mathematics, and it was created for the May month of mathematics. This is a science communication event organized by the Mathematical Institute of the Serbian Academy of Science and Arts, together with the Center for the Promotion of Science in Serbia. And we are currently working on new talks that would be held directly online in a digital way. So another main activity for our project is a mathematical escape room. The main idea would be similar to the classical escape room. You are trapped in a room and you have to solve different, in this case, mathematical riddles to escape from the room. In our case, you would have to escape the library of the mathematics department of the university, and the story would be centered around Beppo Levi, the most important mathematician who worked at our university. So usually you have a certain amount of time to escape the room, and otherwise you're lost. In our case, as soon as you start with the riddles, a machine learning device starts to learn to solve a game. And the more time you need to solve the riddles, the more the machine learning device will have learned to play the game. So once you finish the riddles, you will have to compete with the machine learning device. And depending on how good you were, how quickly you solved the puzzles, you will have more or less chances to win the game. For this project, we worked together with the mathematicians from the Universidad Nacional de Rosario in Santa Fe, who already designed a mathematical escape room, the one you see here in the images. Finally, one last activity of our project would be the interactive exhibition. We would like to do one of the imaginary exhibitions, and it would be a combination of the classical imaginary exhibition and the new Lalablab exhibition where they intertwine mathematics and music. So once again, the idea behind such an exhibition would be to make it possible for people to hear and feel and touch and see mathematics. And the goal would be to change the image mathematics has today, and to show that mathematics can be fun and completely different to what people think that mathematics actually is. So for this exhibition we plan different side activities. For instance, a competition where the visitors of the exhibition are invited to plot in a computer different functions inspired by a theme, for instance nature. And we plan to make a digital art gallery of all the contributions we get. This would be such a side activity during our exhibition. So yeah, these are the main activities we present here. Within our project we have many other activities. For instance, we have a maths meme competition where everybody can submit a mathematical meme, or we have another project where students are invited to describe mathematical theorems in short videos to non-mathematicians, and we upload them to our social media. But we focused here on the main activities. I hope you liked it, and I hope you join our discussion round and questions and answer round after this video. Here you have some contact data if you're interested in contacting us. The particular emails from Damian, this is me, and Natalia, who will accompany me now, and the social media accounts. Thank you and see you later.